drivers in USF2000 getting set to go. If the first race we saw was any indication, USF Juniors put on a show for us as well. It's time to see what we get going here, folks. Lining them up. 17 drivers. 3 races for you to cap off the day. The wet weather is back. No visibility in the back. If you're a little further back, I'd be checking up a little bit. There's no need to run down into the crash zone, especially knowing that you have to make the corner. Field is set. Let's have a look at IndyCar starter Aaron Likens up in the tower. We're at it. Green, green, green. And indeed, drivers diving down to the bottom of the racetrack. Good jump for the pole sitter, Max Garcia. Again, you have to get through the corner. These drivers need to slow down and get around this corner. They're looking good so far. No, it's the leader. A number of drivers not making the corner. The top 3 drivers do not make the corner, and they're going to have to get a drive-through. Wow. Garcia, Schrag, and I think Cox. All 3 of the leaders did not get through the apex. So this is going to be race control to handle this. One driver off a little bit further back, trying to get back onto the racetrack. This shakes things up big time. So indeed, we'll try to get a call here from race control on this one if we possibly can. But 3 drivers missed. The front 3 were not able to get the car wound up and to the inside of, or the outside rather, of the turn 2 apex. That caught me off guard big time. I figured that the leaders would do everything they could to make sure they got back to the right side of the racetrack. They did not do it. So again, we'll put this one in the hands of race control as the leader coming through, Max Garcia. But we are underway here right now. Indeed, I believe penalties are coming down. We'll wait to see as they happen on the racetrack here right now, but it was very firmly said in the driver's meeting that you had to come across. If you missed that apex, drive-throughs were coming. This is going to be very interesting how this pulls things in. One driver already comes into pit lane, so does Cox. So not exactly sure which driver that is at this point here. We'll see them come in here. One driver's already gone to pit lane. Unbelievable. So again, this was the call. You needed to control your race car coming down into the corner. Max Garcia, I believe, staying on track. So it looks like it was the number 2 of Schrag and the number 67 of Cox. Both those drivers coming into pit lane. Max Garcia still needs to come into pit lane, and you wonder whether or not, you know, with those drivers coming into the corner, that they were kind of more fixated on the rain light. When you're racing in the rain light now, it's very, very tough to find your way around. With the spray you have in front of you, a lot of the times you're just fixating on that rain light, the car in front of you, kind of following them through as your marker of where to get on the brakes, what to do. And with the 24 of Garcia essentially completely missing the corner, not able to get over to the right side of the turn 2 apex. I wonder if Schrag and Cox just were right there and essentially fixated and followed them right on through. A couple of penalties already served, so this is going to put, I believe, Hudson Schwartz to the lead. We'll see how it shakes out when Garcia comes to serve his penalty, but what a crazy start here, blowing things wide open. Again, a rain start here as the wet weather started coming down right at the end of the NTT IndyCar Series practice session. 25 lapper for USF2000. And again, as I said before, Garcia coming in with a 35-point lead over Sam Corey. Where is Corey on the racetrack? He's moved up to P5 with this. Here comes Garcia to finally get the drive-through penalty. So the drive-through isn't a stop and go. You're not losing that much. You will 100% go to the tail of the field as Schrag and Cox have come through. We'll see if the number 24 of Garcia comes back out in front of them. He does come out in front of Schrag, yes, so he does come back out still in front of both the drivers who went off. Long way to go in this one here, and it'll be full recovery mode for Max Garcia, who rolls out on track here. Max Taylor, I don't see Taylor on track at this point here, or at least not on live timing. We'll try to pick him up visually. Being told he is potentially in pit lane. So Max Taylor, who is trying to win a championship in both categories, long shot, I think, for his championship. Not so much long shot, he's only 42 points back, but more of a long shot in USF2000. This would all but end that bid if he's finishing at the tail of the field. This puts Hudson Schwartz to the lead, a driver in the middle of a fight for the Rookie of the Year championship as well. Schwartz, Costello second, Giafoni third, Corey fourth, Argeros fifth. Where is Joey Brienza? Down to ninth. Not a good start for Brienza, as he needed the most he could out of that one. Taylor back out onto the racetrack in the number 3. So not sure what happened to Max Taylor, but he's going to come back out at least a lap down. And he'll be 2 laps down, Taylor will be, as the field now rolling, streaming down back into turn number 1. Everybody behind the front-running trio coming into turn 1 at the start, able to get back to the right side of the racetrack. The leaders did not. Straight through, drive-through penalty. Otherwise, a fantastic start for the other 14 drivers behind. Gave each other room, got through cleanly. There's the number 24 of Garcia now rolling up on Carson Etter. See if he can't find a way by. And again, Garcia on full recovery mode over a 25-lap race to get himself back up to challenge. His primary contender, Sam Corey, running now in 4th, able to get by G3 Argyros on the last lap. He's only a second behind Nicholas Giaffoni right now, so Sam Corey with an opportunity here to potentially eat into the points lead for Max Garcia. And Schwartz, Costello, Giaffoni, Corey, and Argyros are top 5. Papasabas in 6th, Hauk 7th, Golan 8th, Brienza 9th, and Quinn Armstrong 10th. Hudson Schwartz coming into the race here today, currently sitting 7th place in points. His best finish on the season, a 4th at NOLA Motorsports Park. Actually had a really good run at NOLA, 6th, 4th, and 6th in the triple header there. Another 6th place finish in Indianapolis, a top 5 finish as well at Mid-Ohio. 3 7th place finishes in the last couple of races. 7th in the final run of the triple header at Mid-Ohio, then 7th in both of the races as well on the streets of Toronto. So he's really worked his way closer up. He's got a point up on Giaffoni for 7th, but he's only back by 29 points from Elliott Cox. Now that is a significant amount, but Cox, of course, remember with that issue at the tail of the field. Garcia's been able to get by Carson Etter. He's now rolling up on Lucas Ficuri and Maxwell Jamison. So an interesting start here as we had 3 drivers struggling to get through the opening couple of corners, overcooking it, coming into the corner, not able to get the car back to the right side of the racetrack, and they cut the course. And again, that's the full detail that was given by race control during the drivers' meeting, was that you had to approach it to make sure you were going to make the corner. Consider, as Charlie Kimball said, consider there being a wall there, because that's where it should be. You're trying to make it through that corner. You got to make sure you get through and don't overcook it, and 3 drivers did. And that's given Hudson Schwartz the lead. Gap right now, 3.3 seconds for Hudson Schwartz, looking to get his first win of his short USF Pro Championships career. Did a shortened season last year in USF Juniors. On the podium 3rd at VIR, his debut year here running in the USF 2000 program, a former Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series champion. Hudson Schwartz in Arlington, Virginia, in the Axios Lucas Oil School of Racing machine. Drivers doing a great job here right now in tough conditions. And there's Garcia right there now. He's been able to get by Lucas Ficuri, so one of the D-Force cars. Next up in front of him will be Maxwell Jamison, then Quinn Armstrong. Garcia, again, as we said, on full recovery mode, trying to work his way back forward. Elliott Cox further back. He's closing up a little bit here, believe, on Carson Etter. Quicker than Etter, quicker than Brienza, who's fallen down to 13th. Not sure what's going on here with Joey Brienza right now, but remember, we've got ourselves a Rookie of the Year championship as well. Brienza coming in ahead of Hudson Schwartz by about 36 points. But with Schwartz leading here right now, that's a chance to lay down 30 points plus. Remember, 30 points for the win. 1 point for most laps led. He's got 5 laps already. If he gets to the lap 13 mark with the lead, he'll get that bonus point as well. And he has the fast lap of the race as well. Hudson Schwartz rolling here in the wet. Good scrap right now as well, a little further back, but Costello getting challenged a bit here by Max Taylor. Taylor trying to see if he can't get his lap back, at least 1 lap back. He's 2 laps back now. But again, can he get back up to Schwartz? Can he get a lap and then potentially get a yellow? Taylor trying to keep himself into the fight as well, but he's down in 17th. Elliott Cox, who comes in here 6th in points, trying to get by Joey Brienza for 5th. He's down in 16th place. Brienza's falling down the order again. He still continues to tumble. Brienza now down into 14th. Max Garcia now up into the 10th position. Garcia, 128.8. Same time as Corey up front there as well. 127s for Schwartz, Costello, and Papasavas. Good lap times for those guys. Taylor turning 128.9. The rain continues to fall here trackside. That blue sky we talked about is gone. Full dark clouds here. We may have rain for a little bit here. And again, that's kind of makes you think if you're in the USF Pro 2000 category, you're up next. The rain is not tapering off at all at this point. Will we have wet weather conditions through to the end of the day? Championship up for grabs in USF Pro 2000. Lockie Hughes trying to secure that championship away from Jace Denmark. And Max Taylor, who will be back in the car in USF Juniors with an opportunity to potentially lock it down in the juniors category to secure that championship in the juniors class. Seven laps down, long way to go in this one. I will say this, 40-minute window, as we said, with the slower times here in the wet. If there were to be an issue, we may have to go to a timed race. Lap times now, 1:27s. We were significantly quicker than that, obviously, in dry weather conditions. There's Nicholas Giaffoni running in the third spot. Great run here for Giaffoni, who's 8th place in points right now. 1 point behind Schwartz. We'd lose some to Schwartz, but he's well ahead of Cox and Brienza. There's an opportunity for all those drivers. The rookie race taking a beating here right now. Brienza led coming in over Schwartz and Giaffoni, but it's not done. Costello in the fight too, although quite a ways back. Not over, because Costello's running P2 now. So those two drivers in the rookie champion. In fact, the rookies run 1, 2, 3 right now. Let's throw that out there. The rookie drivers, although they are, these ones I'm talking about are 7th, 8th, and 9th in the points. They run 1, 2, 3 in these wet, tough conditions. But as I often mention, when you get to Portland here at the last round of the season, are these drivers really rookies anymore? Yeah, they're still a full season behind the sophomore drivers in terms of experience, but they're not really rookies. They've ran 7 weekends. They've ran 2 street courses races. They ran at St. Petersburg and they ran in Toronto. They've been on the oval at Indianapolis Raceway Park. They've raced tracks like Mid-Ohio and Road America. They've been on track. So the bottom line is they're not really rookies anymore. They still have the R beside their name on live timing. But oftentimes we'll see the rookies step up near the end of the season in these super tough conditions. Give it up for Schwartz, Costello, and Giaffoni. There's Max Taylor, a couple laps back. There's Giaffoni. Then there's the next group of Sam Corey, Nevagoras, Papasavas. Now there is a lap car there. That's Taylor. This is 3rd place running Giaffoni. 4th is Corey. 5th, Papasavas. And then back to 6th place running G3 Argyros, another one of the rookies. Eric Hauk as well having a strong run. Being told a driver off in turn 12. We'll have a look at this when we come back and get a better shot. We can't see it from here. When they come back onto the straightaway, we'll see whether or not that driver's right in front of us here. If that driver's continue, there it is there. That's the leader. I believe that's the leader has gone off. That is Hudson Schwartz. He's going to try to come back onto the racetrack here. The leader has spun coming through 11 and 12. Costello has taken over top spot. Hudson Schwartz leading by over 3 seconds, goes around coming through turn number 12. We want the experience, we want these drivers to learn, but not that way. Tough one. We actually do have a replay of the incident involving the single car incident, the spin potentially here for Schwartz. Let's have a look at it. It looks like it's already drifting. Yeah, he had trouble with the transition through 10. He never made it to 11. Tries to bring it back on the racetrack. He's still on the throttle. It's got a bit of turn to it. You can see it's got transition. Oh, and he just loses the rear. Costello sliding through right there. So Michael Costello goes to the lead. Nicholas Giaffoni up into 2nd. Sam Corey down to 3rd. Papasavas 4th. Argyros rounds out the top 5. Schwartz comes back and continues in 9th. So he's still P9 with the fast lap of the race. And we're only 10 laps in. Can Hudson Schwartz mount a charge back forward? his fast lap, 1:27 flat. Incredible. Max Garcia up to 7th. Essentially last at the end of the, well, 3rd from last, 14th or 15th. After missing the apex of turn number 1 and 2, he has got himself back into 7th. Huge recovery for Garcia. Really, it's the gap between Garcia and Corey right now. This issue for Max Taylor being 2 laps down is going to all but eliminate him from championship contention. There's still an outside opportunity to sweep the events tomorrow to get it done, but it's really going to help Garcia moving forward. Garcia now 1.3 seconds behind Ayrton Hout, but was quicker by 1.5 seconds last time by. Hudson Schwartz 1.8 seconds behind Quinn Armstrong, quicker by a second. Schwartz will be on full attack mode to try to get himself back forward, but Michael Costello in these unbelievably tough conditions, digging. What a first win it would be. Jay Howard driver development with 3 cars in the top 5 right now. Costello P1, Papasavas in 4th, Argyros in 5th. Papasavas comes in 59 points behind Garcia and would likely claw back 5, maybe a handful. He currently runs in 4th, Garcia in 7th. Garcia still coming in. So Papasavas, as he runs on the racetrack, still holding on to a mathematical opportunity to steal a championship. Costello leading by 11 seconds. Michael Costello putting on a show here. First it was Schwartz, and then it was Costello. Schwartz still 9th. We're going to see how much he's been able to close up here now. Garcia across the line. Schwartz another full second quicker than Armstrong. Closes to within 0.7 of a second. Brady Golan turns his fast lap. 10th, Thomas Schrag, who followed Max Garcia to the inside of the turn 2 apex, has fought his way back up to 11th. Started on the outside of the front row, he's 11th now. Garcia, as we said, attacking back up to 7th. Only a second now behind Ayrton Hout. It was a half second faster on that last lap. That's a good scrap right there. Giafoni. Sam Corey's coming. Sam Corey's putting the pressure on, so is Papasavas. That's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, because 11 seconds up the road is Costello for a leisurely wet weather drive. Guys, what do you think of this, Bobby? One thing about the rain, it's not fantastic for spectators. They got to tough it out, but
right.
What a challenge for these drivers, for sure.
Oh, we've already seen it. We're now just crossing halfway through this race, and everything's been turned completely upside down. We've seen leaders go off. We saw, of course, the crazy start where the first, second, and third place cars somehow missed, the second corner, so they had to go to the back. But as you mentioned, the rain is not great for spectators, but it does make for spectacular racing.
It does, 100%. Phil, what do you think? We're always talking about these young drivers and what they're able to do. You get a chance to see these guys essentially once a year when they come here to Portland. Pretty good show by these young kids in USF2000 as Max Taylor loops around a little bit here. Taylor has gone around. Max Taylor around over, I believe, what is that, turn number 6, I believe, coming out through there. Around he goes. Taylor pushing as hard as he can. But again, these drivers, Phil, as I said, just hanging it out there. You can see there, even Max Taylor pushing as hard as he can coming through that corner.
And especially not being here before. Making it their first, a lot of them their first stop here, and then having to deal with, this is the heaviest rain we've had today in any course of the action. So they put on quite the show, and it's going to tough on them.
It is, and the one thing about it is, I said, when you don't know a racetrack well, anytime you do go and test at a track, we have official series tests, they have private tests. The rain is coming down strong here now, folks, just to remind you. You don't know what the track's like in the wet. So when you go test at a track, let's say it's Road America, Mid-Ohio, whatever it may be, and it rains, it's almost a blessing to get a chance to feel what it's like to race in the rain, because it's not something, as a driver here, if it starts raining, you can't say, well, let's go test somewhere. You have to plan a test. So when the rain comes, it's almost a blessing in disguise. You get a chance to get a feel for that track, learn how to drive in the rain, how to really maximize. And like I said, the rain is teeming down here right now. It is tough on these drivers. Visibility, of course, at the minimum. But what a battle we're seeing. This is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right there, separated by, what, less than 2 seconds, maybe even a little less. They come through. Back over here again to turn number 4 out of the 2-3-4 or 2-3 combination 2-4. Sam Corey is putting a ton of pressure on Nicholas Giafoni. Corey knows he's racing for his life right now because Garcia continues to battle with Ayrton Hauk. The one thing is, once you do get close, then you're really dealing with that spray, that rooster tail. You'll see the drivers pull to the other side of the track, and Giafoni's been pressured. Giafoni's made the mistake, and he's gone off. He'll lose 2 spots and go back to P4, move Corey to second, and that's really all you can do, guys, is put that pressure on. It's tough to make a move. You're not making that draft and braking pass, right? It's about pushing and trying to force the next driver to mistake. And Bobby, that's what happened there. Nicholas Giafoni a little wide coming out at turn number 6, dropped the wheels, and right through to turn number 7, Sam Corey picks up P2.
We talked about that earlier. All it takes is one wheel off somewhere and you're going for a ride. Lose 2 spots, and as you just said so eloquently, my friend, you're not trying to draft from them. You're not trying to force them to make the wrong error per se on a clear track. But when it's wet, all it takes is one misstep. All it takes is one little correction of the wheel and you're off for the races. And it's not like something you just quickly come back on for. Once you hit the grass, you're at the mercy of nature.
Well, what did we see there with Hudson Schwartz? He got off the track. It looked like he had the thing handled, but as he was trying to bring it back on the track, it just started to rotate on him a bit, and then he's along for the ride at that point. And that's, as a driver, when you're like, I could just tell you go through turn number 6 and you're kind of just starting to feed the wheel into it, and all of a sudden it starts to get that understeer, push off the racetrack, and you know that you're along for the ride at this point here. Being told full course yellow, folks, as we're just past the halfway point, 15 laps down or 14 laps down, full course yellow on the racetrack. We'll try to figure out who it is that was involved in the incident here, as we have gone full course with Michael Costello leading by 11.4 seconds. It's going to give everybody another chance as the full course yellow has come out on the racetrack. 14 laps down, Costello leading, Corey in second, Papasavas third, Giafoni fourth, Argyros running in fifth, Hauk in sixth, Garcia seventh. Schwartz able to get another spot. He slips back by Quinn Armstrong. He'll go to 8th, the leader who spun coming out of turn number 10 through to turn number 11. I don't know whether or not it's just the conditions on the track with how much rain that we have right now, or whether or not it's a driver who's got into an incident. We'll try to figure that out. Yeah, indeed, getting news now that potentially just the tough conditions, I don't know if they're standing water or not, but we have gone to a yellow flag simply for conditions at this point, as the amount of rain that has hit us here. Race control electing to go to the yellow flag. So still 17 minutes, a little over 17 minutes remaining in the 40-minute time window. We put 15 laps in as they come back across the line. Costello is the leader. Corey runs in second. Papasavas in third. Giafoni in fourth. Argyros fifth. Hauk sixth. Garcia seventh. Schwartz, Armstrong, and Golan to round out your top 10. Bobby Corser joins us here in the booth, the voice of this Portland Grand Prix event. Obviously a full-time weatherman, full-time job, and we're watching it. We thought there was potentially going to be just a shorter cell, but as you know, things change, winds change, and give me your update on what you think we've got here.
The joke in the Northwest is if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes and something will, pop up. And magically, we have skirted a heavier cell, thankfully, but we are getting a little residual from that. However, there is a new cell that has popped up to our due south. We could get clipped by the, I want to say the kind of the wing if you're looking at it. It looks like kind of a bird flying. But PIR, center of the screen where, what Rob and I are looking at here, all of the storm motion is moving it to the northeast. So we kind of got lucky. We didn't get hit by the immediate big stuff, but all it takes is just a little bit, which we're seeing now, and we're almost out of this. So again, we can see blue sky just immediately to our south. It will let up, and then we have to wait to see what's kind of behind it. So rain for the next 5, 6, 7 minutes. It will stop, and then we have to see what's going to come on the other side of the West Hills, which another cell is kind of formed. So, but when we look further downstream from that, there's nothing out there behind that until you get way down toward the community of Newburgh, which is about 55 miles away. So.
There you go. Well, we're behind the pace car right now, turning some laps. I do want to say this, right here at start-finish classroom when we're announcing, there's a pair of spectators at the top of the grandstand. I think between B and C. Shout out to those guys over there who have the raincoats on. That's what, J grandstand? Shout out to the guys at the J Grandstand who are hanging in here. They've got the pouches, the ponchos on, and they are watching all of this race in the rain. Kudos, that's fantastic. You got my respect for sure.
Wow, that's just hardcore. I thought I was a hardcore fan, but I don't know if I could do that.
I love it, fantastic. So we're good shot here of the really heavy stuff that we've seen, with some light stuff a little further down towards turn number 12. But again, we're going to bang some laps out here around. We'll see whether or not it kind of comes up a little bit. The AMR IndyCar safety crew will roll around the track as well to check out standing water and see what we're dealing with. We are seeing a bit of brighter skies out towards turn number 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So drivers get a chance to circulate around. We'll give you a full field rundown here as they circulate now through into turn number 1, 2, and 3. And again, remember, we are going to go, and you can see it actually lightening up a little bit here already coming through the Festival chicane, where we're going to have a restart. But you can also see, look at some of the standing water further down to the inside of the track. Now, that's not the racing line when you pull back down to the inside, but Michael Costello, your leader, had an 11-second lead. Actually, he was second until we had the issue with Hudson Schwartz, who now runs in the 8th position. He was leading by over 4 seconds, but looped it around coming through turn 11. Costello is the leader. Sam Corey second. Nicholas Giafoni in third. Evagoras Papasavas in fourth. Argyros in fifth. Garcia sixth. Ayrton Hauk in seventh. Hudson Schwartz in eighth. Quinn Armstrong ninth. Brady Golan in 10th spot. Thomas Schrag in 11th. Joey Beer ends at 12th. 13th, 14th, 15th. Elliott Cox, Maxwell Jameson, and Lucas Facuri. Carson Etter 16th. And Max Taylor 2 laps down in the 14th spot. They brought him in early for a couple of pit stops and then had that loop around. He is 2 laps down. So again, Costello is the leader. 16 laps down, 9 still to go, 13 and a half minutes remaining. So lots of time here still to go back to racing. It's just whether or not this track is going to be what we need here. Costello looking for his first win of the season. Again, so much can change here. The championship, as we said, Max Garcia, Sam Corey, Max Taylor, Evagoras Papasava. That's really the drivers who are kind of in the championship fight. But again, there's that Rookie of the Year battle between Brienza, Schwartz, Giafoni, and Costello. You've got drivers trying to fight their way back into the top 10 as well. Even if you're a rookie driver in this program, man, a top 10, that really gives me the momentum I need to potentially come back in 2025 and run for a championship, right? I've learned a ton throughout this year, so much from the first race in St. Petersburg to the final rounds here in Portland. I want to come back and be able to learn and take everything I did learn, the education I had from this year, really apply it for next year and go for a championship. And you can do that when you're chasing a scholarship worth over, $458,000 to move up to the USF Pro 2000 category the following year. For so many drivers in this program, it's the scholarship they need to be able to continue on. The financial resources aren't there. If they don't win the scholarship, they can't continue. And at that point, they potentially can make that pivot and start looking at sports car racing, whatever it may be. Or at least find, if you had the success, some more partners and supporters to keep going. A lot of water on the racetrack, as we know. 17 laps now in. I'll tell you, for Max Garcia, it has played probably the best it could possibly play, simply because of the fact that with he, Schrag, and Cox missing the turn 2 apex on the start, getting the drive-through, he was able to power his way, drive his way back up to 6th. A couple drivers had some issues, yes, but he was able to get his way back up into 6th position right now. Able to get by Ayrton Hauk on that last lap, so Garcia up to 6th. He has minimized the damage in the championship in a huge way. Had he finished at the tail of the field, I don't know that we wouldn't be looking potentially at a different scrap when we finish things off tomorrow afternoon. It's the last race of the weekend for USF 2000, but with Garcia up into the 6th spot, Papasava just a couple of points ahead of him, or a couple of spots ahead of him. Yeah, he's going to gain a little bit, but not much. And remember, now we got our potential restart coming. That's going to give Garcia a chance to attack on everybody else still in front of him. Papasavas in 4th. Sam Corey right now 4th spots ahead. He's P2. Corey will be wanting to go for the win. And where we are right now with 8 laps to go, if Costello keeps going here, I think he may be the driver that ends up. Remember, you got to end up with the most laps led. Hudson Schwartz led for the first dozen at least. Costello, I'm sure, was blown away when he came through turn 10 and saw the leader off the racetrack, but indeed it happens that fast. We talk about the fact that these young drivers are on the absolute ragged edge trying to run here in the wet, just slipping and sliding. The car always has a bit of slip angle. You just have to manage that. You have to be quiet on the hands. You have to be so precise on your inputs. And it doesn't take much to make that little bit of a mistake, guys. And it's like we talked about, it's not hard to make a mistake and find yourself off the racetrack.
Let me ask you this: as a driver, these guys right now, what are they going through? Obviously, their suit is soaked. They don't have their visor cracked. Maybe they do to help kind of battle some fog or stuff. But as a driver, what's going on physically in the car right now through the rain?
Well, one of the first and foremost things is you're not dealing with as much G load, right? So you're not physically exhausted. You're more mentally exhausted because it takes a lot more. You can't get into the groove. When you're in full dry conditions, you're in the groove. Especially when, if you're driving at 80% speed, you're going to hang it back. You can make a mistake. When you're hanging out there at 95%, you just get in the roll, kind of get in a rhythm. There's not as much G load on the drivers here, of course. Yeah, most of their body is within the car, so yeah, their suit's a bit wet. Their hands are probably quite cold. That's one of the big things when it is get wet, because your hands are up there as you're turning. Your hands get completely soaked and get a bit wet. The visor, the visibility is very tough. Depending on what you've done, some drivers will put Rain-X on. They may have a visor strip, whatever it may be. Visibility is always the big thing. But again, for all these drivers, they're doing the best they can. It's just mental, because it's just you can't, again, we saw Nicholas Giaffoni make that minor error coming through turn 6 and he went off. It's mental focus, 100% mental focus from the first green flag to the checkered flag. And in fact, a lot. There are times in a wet race where they'll get the checkered flag, the driver will go off in one, or he'll drive off on the cool down lap because they've kind of let themselves go, and they'll make that mistake, right? They'll drive off because you just have to have 100% mental focus to have any kind of success to stay on the racetrack here in the wet weather racing.
It is truly incredible just to watch these athletes drive in the conditions that we have seen today. And these poor guys have seen it all. Yesterday rain, today a session in the dry, and then now again back to the rain. It's like, how do you figure out what the setup, how do you figure out what you want to really do and attack?
One of the amazing things is you think about when you're driving on the street to work in the morning, right? And there's a torrential rain just pouring down, but you have wipers and you're dry inside your warm car. You've got wipers, but you're still kind of tentative and kind of nervous because
absolutely.
They're cold, there's no heater, there's no power steering, and there's zero visibility because it's just pelting, the rain's just pelting your visor. So you don't have those windshield wipers, which sometimes you feel, if you're driving on the street, aren't enough because you still don't have enough visibility.
Absolutely.
Pace car's lights are still on, so we're going to come back around another lap. This will put lap number 19 in. And again, whether or not we're just kind of cruising around here right now waiting, we have 7.5 minutes still remaining. You can see, we've got actually some blue sky we're seeing down here towards turn number 1 and 2.
I'm looking at the puddles. There's no active rain falling, on the front stretch right now.
And that's going to be key, because it's not going to be adding to it. Drivers working their way around the track. Again, full input coming from the AMR IndyCar safety crew around the racetrack. They're in contact. They actually have a rep up in race control. So that rep from AMR is talking to, of course, their reps around the racetrack, their crew. They'll, of course, then relay that information to our race control, which has decades worth of experience in terms of calling races and understanding track conditions. So indeed a good call for them. The feedback came in that the track was dangerous. We've circulated around under the yellow for a couple of laps here, but again, the track looks like it's getting better. No more rain. We talked about it was teeming down. It was pounding down here. But as you said, Bobby, when you looked at the forecast and your satellite, you thought that was going to be kind of in a window, but we weren't going to get hit by the really heavy stuff.
Right, and it still continues, that track right now where we might get a little bit here in the next 10 to 15 minutes, but it does look like there is a window in a slot that does provide at least a little bit more drying. I don't know if we're going to get the track completely dry going forward, but at least it will be less wet than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, if you're watching online on the YouTube channel and you're maybe just tuning in, not sure what's going on the racetrack here right now, we had a lot of rain. Actually, the rain came just after IndyCar qualifying, or IndyCar practice rather. It came hard. We ended up having to make a move to the wet weather tires. The race deemed officially wet. Everybody going to the wet tires. It is kind of started finally to taper off, but it was some heavy rain for a time. So we're going to come back around here, folks. We're going green flag racing. We'll put lap 20 in the books. There will be 5 laps remaining. Michael Costello looking to capitalize on how well he's driven thus far to potentially pull away. We'll We'll see if they work their way out, looking for the pace car to dive itself into pit lane. And if we do, we'll go back to racing. Costello is right there. Sam Corey, though, knows what he needs. Pace car's down. Green flag flying at start finish. You got to watch coming out of the corner. Big jump here for Giafoni. You wonder whether or not if Corey could have potentially spun the tires a little bit. Giafoni's going to run with them. Big come down here. This is, again, where you may have trouble coming to the corner. You've got to make turn 1 and 2. We'll watch him coming down into the corner. One driver, Corey's gone off. Corey has overcooked it. How many drivers are going to miss it? We got to go to the other side there. Oh, there's a shot there over the top for Hauk. He did miss it, but went back over the curbing to get it. So I expect they'll probably be okay with Hauk. But I think, I can't see, we didn't see whether or not Corey completely missed the corner or not. He missed the turn in early. All right, being told he actually made it. So listen, shout out to Sam Corey, because the entry into the corner was quick. He did not get the car turned down to the apex, but was able to bring it back around. So shout out to Sam Corey. Big control, but he's got himself a handful here now, fighting with Papasavas, I believe. Yeah, Papasavas is there. He's gone into third, or has held on to third. Giafoni had the spot for a time, but maybe Papasavas is back. But what this means, all this fighting for second, is Michael Costello's getting some breathing room. The driver on the racetrack with the best visibility. No one spraying into the visor of Michael Costello, the driver of the number 8 for Jay Howard Driver Development out of Naples, Florida, looking for his first win. It'll be 4 laps to go when they come back around. He's trying to put himself in the middle of the Rookie of the Year battle as well. Joey Brienza, who leads the rookie points, back in 12th place right now. It's going to tighten things up. It's going to tighten up from 5th back to 9th. Lots still to happen. Papasavas now going to work. It's what Garcia does. Garcia gets by Argyros. Again, a lot of times I talk about, oh, there's contact there. Corey goes around. Corey has gone around. I believe that might have been contact for the back from Papasavas into the braking zone of turn number 2. And those drivers are 2nd and 4th in the points. They just gave it up to Garcia, who has moved his way back into 2nd. Are you kidding me? Garcia back to 2nd. He was able to get by Giafoni, and we do have a replay of the run into turn number 1 and 2. Corey to the inside. I don't know if Papasavas just overcooked it. Have a look through here. There's the leader, Costello, coming through. Across to turn number 1. Look at those 2 cars. Deep into the corner there for Papasavas, and he's going to get into the back of Sam Corey. Corey needed that car to come all the way around. It didn't. Giafoni had to check up, and Max Garcia ends up coming back, I believe, to P2. Oh my goodness. The driver who had a drive-through penalty after an issue on the start has worked his way forward, has not made another mistake, and now finds him back into 2nd. He was going to lose points to Corey and Papasavas. Instead, he is going to stretch out the lead. Unbelievable. 2 to go. No, 3 to go, I believe. 22 laps in the books, 3 laps remaining. So here's the kicker here. We are going to be a timed race. We have 3 laps to go. As you look at the screen, if you're looking up top there, 3 to go, but the time is 1:48, just confirmed with race control and our timing and scoring director, Tim O'Brien, that indeed we are on time now. We're not going to get all the laps in. A timed race. White flag will fly next time by. Costello the leader. And somehow Max Garcia has worked his way into 2nd. Man, it looked like things were tightening up, but no. Unbelievable. Got a great fight here as well. Further back. Let's pick him up. White flag will fly. 3rd, 4th, good scrap. Giafoni, is that Schwartz back? That may be Schwartz back again. It's either Schwartz or potentially Papasavas. Oh, we got some big racing further back. Quinn Armstrong making a move there a little further back too, I think. All right, I'm going to restack him and pack him for you here across the line. Michael Costello is your leader. There he is across the line. No, it's actually Papasavas, but he's still in 2nd. Garcia 3rd. So Again, there may be a penalty for Papasavas. So indeed, Costello is your leader. Papasavas still on the racetrack in second. Garcia third. Giafoni fourth. Schwartz fifth. Armstrong sixth. Argyros in seventh. 8th, 9th, and 10th. Corey, Golan, and Schrag having to navigate their way through turn number 2. One last time. Man, what a day. So much action in both of these races. Drivers doing their best to keep it on the racetrack. Again, remember, USF Pro 2000 drivers are on the false grid, lining up and getting ready to go for their 30-lap race. We'll wrap it all up with a 15-lapper for USF Juniors afterwards. More exciting racing to come. But potential for a first-time winner here, as he has been absolutely perfect. A timed race. We're going to come lap one short. Driver working their way down to the last part of this racetrack. Twin checkers waiting with Aaron Likens at start-finish. Here he comes out of the corner. Papasavas is going to get second, but unofficially after the contact with Corey. But coming down the front straightaway, folks, big victory here. First win of his career, and it comes in style. A flawless performance. Michael Costello winning a challenging wet opening race here at Portland International Raceway. The Naples, Florida driver scoring the victory. His teammate Evagoras Papasavas is going to end up in second, but being told a potential 10-second penalty for Papasavas. We'll figure out where that puts him. That's going to move Garcia up into second. Hudson Schwartz, who led and then spun, works his way back up into the third spot. Fourth is going to be Giafoni. Again, this is unofficial based on the penalty for Papasavas for contact with Corey. So Schwartz to third, Giafoni in fourth, Quinn Armstrong fifth, Sam Corey will go back up to sixth, G3 Argyros in seventh. So a 10-second penalty for Papasavas drops him down to sixth. He had that much of a gap. So Papasavas sixth. So let's reset here. And of course, we'll get the graphic up on the screen for you when we can, so we don't need to jump at it too much. First and foremost, Michael Costello. While other drivers were making mistakes, he was flawless. We saw issues from Garcia, Schwartz, Giafoni, of course Papasavas into the back of Corey. So many drivers having trouble, but Michael Costello did not. A fantastic performance from the young Floridian. His first win of the season. Remember, he is also coming in ninth in points. He's trying to fight his way back up to a potential scrap for P5. Michael Costello with the win. Let's have a look at the unofficial order. Costello with the victory. Max Garcia ending up in the second spot. Hudson Schwartz in third. Nicholas Giafoni in fourth. Quinn Armstrong rounding out the unofficial top five. Papasavas with that penalty dropping down into the sixth spot. Sam Corey in seventh. G3 Argyros in eighth. Brady Golan ninth. And Thomas Schrag rounding out the top 10. Ayrton Hauk ends up 11th. Joey Brienza in 12th. Lucas Fakurian 13th. There's your top 10. 14th, Elliot Cox never rebounded after the issue and the drive-through. Maxwell Jameson 15th. Carson Eder in 16th. And 2 laps down, Max Taylor. Just a simple shift over the last couple of laps in what the championship story looked like. It appeared that Papasavas and Corey were going to at least gain a couple of points on Max Garcia. Instead, Garcia comes home in second, Papasavas sixth, Corey in seventh, and there's Costello getting his first victory. Big one for Costello. But again, Papasavas and Corey and Taylor, all three drivers behind Garcia, taking a hit in the championship. Still, 66 points up for grabs. And I'll tell you, 35 points going in. Garcia's going to get, I think, 25 for second. Corey all the way back in seventh. And this is going to be super close for Garcia. I don't think he's clinched it yet, but he is going to very likely do that in race number 2, first thing tomorrow morning. Big one for Costello, though. Solid victory for him in tough conditions. Max Garcia finishing second, Hudson Schwartz in third. Those are the three drivers that'll take me to victory lane. And Bobby Corso, I'll pass it back to you. Let you and Phil chat a little bit while I get things ready to go in victory lane. After that, folks, when I'm done victory lane, we're coming straight back up. I got to do driver introductions for USF Pro 2000, because it's right out of one, right into the other, as we have 3 straight races, as I said, to cap things off here. And indeed, getting ready to go racing with USF Pro 2000 when we get back up. Again, such a busy day for the drivers here. Nikita Johnson and Lockie Hughes will be on the front row for that race. I'll go through the full driver lineup when I get back up. But Bobby, I'll let you guys chat about it a little bit because that was an exciting race.
That was fantastic. Phil, man, first of all, we got to make sure Rob is getting paid because Rob's been doing the God's work today with all of the broadcasting. But that was a fantastic race. Weather challenges, we thought it was coming. It's finally here. Now, though, it looks like we might have dodged the last bullet. Knock on wood.
We hope so.
We hope so. But, to be determined. What a great race, though. So much action.
It was great, and what kind of surprised me on that final restart when we finally got going again with 4 or 5 laps to go. After the initial start, when the top 3 cars went off, the track was a lot wetter at this point when they had that restart again, and I'm thinking, wow, it's going to be worse. And it really wasn't.
No, and I think it is a testament to how well drainage works here at PIR. For the most part, this track is relatively flat. There's very little elevation change. There is very minimal slope on any of the turns, any of the straightaways. I mean, we're looking out over start finish here, and you can tell where the low spots are, right? We can see it. You got to give credit to the drivers and you got to give credit to the teams because they were able to run a flawless race, most of them. But even if they had issues with stuff, they were able to come back and not let it affect them too much. But as you said, I mean, I'm just kind of doing a quick mental recap. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 6 leaders went off the track at some point. Either it was the 3 that started. We had the gentleman over in 12 that spun, lost lead, ended up finishing 3rd, Hudson Schwartz. But man, it's just been fantastic. So props to them. Great first race. We got 2 more to go tonight. They're going to be wet races for the most part, from what we understand, and it's going to be interesting. Again, turn 1, we're just adding more drama every single race to this. It has been a fantastic day of racing, and man.
I don't know if our hardcore fans that sat out through this race, maybe they're just going to go get for a coffee break.
Maybe.
But you can tell the one in the purple, he's a Washington Husky fan, so he's used to watching football in the rain.
Absolutely.
So they're hanging out. Maybe they're going to get a coffee to come back because they're, like you said. But you'd think we've dodged the most. We hope so. I mean, look how quick it's clearing up.
All right, we're going to head down to Victory Circle and Rob Howard.
Bobby, thank you so much indeed. What a wild one that was. Rain came teaming down, and it stopped. Some wild action at the end of this one here for sure. Just incredible racing. And, of course, the championship looking a little more clear right now with what was a wild race. Drivers spinning, working their way back forward. Let's start with the driver coming home in 3rd place today. Led for a time, little mistake, but fired his way back up to P3. A podium finish from Pabst Racing. Hudson Schwartz finishing in 3rd spot today. Great run for Hudson, P3. Coming home in 2nd spot, I believe 59 points, I think the lead right now, Tammy told me, so very close to a championship lock, not quite yet. But the driver coming home in 2nd for Pabst Racing, Max Garcia. Stellar drive after the drive-through penalty for the issue in the opening corner, fires his way back up to 2nd. I don't think he would have figured that was going to happen after what occurred in race corner number 1. Always love to have a first-time winner here, ladies and gentlemen, so please help me celebrate this young driver. A flawless performance in unbelievably tough conditions for J. Howard Driver Development. His first win, Michael Costello! Michael, where did that come from? Everybody else was making mistakes. Flawless for the entire race. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, that just came from the heart, I've had a horrible season so far. Just getting unlucky after everything I've done to basically be in the right position, everything would happen. So, I knew I had the opportunity to win, so just kept pushing forward, remembered how good I am, and that was all it.
Can you tell me how treacherous it was? We saw drivers spinning off everywhere. People were forced into mistakes, leaders spinning off. Can you tell me just how tough was it out there?
Oh, in the middle when it was just pouring down, it was very, very, very tough. At that point, I was literally first gear everywhere, just crawling around. It was horrible.
So tell me how you feel. The first victory is always a big one.
Really good. Definitely a big weight off my shoulders. Going into next year as well, just knowing I could do it. Confidence is back to where it should be, especially after the year I had last year in F4 and everything. So, yeah, we're just going to keep pushing forward, see how much more we could do this weekend, and that's it.
Who do you want to thank?
I want to thank, first of all, J. Howard Driver Development for the amazing car. I couldn't do it without them. I want to thank all my sponsors, EDA Eyewear, ProGuard Warranty, Race Suit Valet, and obviously Bell Helmets as well. And then obviously my mom and dad for helping me being here and everything else. So
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
One more time, folks. First time winner, Michael Costello. Again, flawless performance in unbelievably tough conditions. The teeming rain, as we said, crawling around the racetrack, just trying to keep it on the asphalt, and he gets the job done. Pabst Racing drivers working their way back forward. Both of the drivers, Schwartz and Garcia, having trouble on the racetrack, but they didn't give up. They kept digging to get themselves back forward. Of course, that is part of what it takes to win a championship. Max Garcia, who looked to be lined up to lose a couple of points to both Papasavas and Corey, ends up flipping the script and pulling away a little bit more. 59-point lead unofficially, we believe, right now. And again, remember, only 66 points up for grabs for tomorrow. Guys, congratulations. Great race today. Grip it and rip it. Let's celebrate race number 1 for USF2000. Michael Costello winning his first race here in USF2000 competition. And a great drive for Max Garcia to second, and Hudson Schwartz into third. We'll send it back up into the tower here right now, folks, as right after this, we've got race number 1 for USF Pro 2000. Those drivers getting ready to roll.